Hey YouTube! I tried to do a video for this yesterday, but the doorbell went, haha, and I got a new guitar, so it wasn't this one. This, quite a strange one for me, is an actual Gibson SG Standard from 2015, an American one. Yeah, you can still get the cellophane on the pickguard. This guitar, the guy who gave me it absolutely hated the neck on it. A lot of people didn't like these guitars. I remember there being people up in arms on the internet and stuff like that because of the logo on the headstock. See, it's sort of gold Les Paul 100. People was, it's like vintage folk. Also, it's got the robot tuners on it. I've had this guitar for a couple of weeks now, been messing about with it, and I've not found anything wrong with them. But you see them online, really cheap. Like these tuners, a lot of people buy these guitars and rip those tuners off and stick on, you know, your normal custom ones, which kind of look the same from the front. That kind of affair. And I was never a fan. That's one of the things I never really liked about that. My old SG actually was, I never really liked the tuners. They're a bit crap. They are Gibson, I think they say Gibson Deluxe on them, but they're crap. Yeah, so this one was described as having a slim neck, which, to be fair, it is quite slim that way, but that way it's huge. It's like a Spanish, flamenco guitar, like a nylon stringer. It really is significantly wider than just about any other guitar I've got. Maybe talking 7-string. I used to have an Ibanez 7-string. It's kind of almost that sort of width, which I can understand people not liking, but I think it's great. My favourite thing about this guitar. I wish more guitar comes. A lot of the guitars, I don't go on about it a lot, most of the ones I buy are from sort of 80s in Japan. Back then they were trying to try different things, so you get ones with like triangular neck profiles and big fat ones and thin ones and all this crazy different shapes, whereas I think nowadays, not all guitars, I think maybe once you start getting up to expensive ones it maybe changes, but all your sort of mid-range guitars have got a very similar neck profile. They don't want to give you something that's too out there in case you don't like it, take it back. So they're kind of all the same. There's an Epiphone Les Paul and like a Mexican Strat. The neck profile's not really that different. They're just kind of, obviously the Les Paul's a bit more Les Paul and the Strat's a bit more Stratty, but they're not the full extreme like if you were in the 50s. A Les Paul neck would be like your arm, and a Strat one would be like triangular shaped. There'd be a big difference between them. There's not that same difference anymore, apart from on this one. Yeah, so as I said, this has got the automatic tuners, which I'll see if it's in tune. All you do is you press the button in the back and you do that. It's not liking the B. So it was in tune. So that's it started. I've actually tried to do a couple of videos for this, and the strings that are on it, I think, are the ones from 2015 when it was new, so they're a couple of years old. And the guy, as I said, that had before me, absolutely hated the neck profile, hated the guitar actually. And when he tried to sell it, people were just slagging it off for having the Les Paul thing on the front. It's also got Les Paul's wee smiling face on the back, of a wee hologram there, you can see him waving at you. Which is quite, and I find it quite amusing, because obviously, being guitar geeks, we all know that they stopped making the Les Paul guitar in 1959 or whatever it was, and they replaced it with this Les Paul. So from when this came out in 61 or 62, the SG, it wasn't called an SG, it was called a Les Paul, and Les Paul hated it. He didn't like the thin body and stuff like that, so his name got taken off it a couple of years later and it became the SG. So it's quite funny, his name's on it again. Yeah, so this being the standard model, it has binding on the fretboard, it is the fancy block inlays, it's got covered pickups. These are 57 Classics, I believe the spec said on them. Yeah, mahogany body, set neck, all the usual stuff. It's actually got push-pull coil splits on both of the pickups there, and it's a nitro finish, and I can't believe it. I've got a Daegu, which is a wee sort of furry rodent thing about that size that lives downstairs, and I go and play with him every night and have my dinner. And I've had guitars in there for a year, just all sitting in there and I've played guitar with the Daegu, as you do when he's running about. And this is the first one I've ever had that's been expensive, and the wee bastard took a bite out of it. It's like unbelievable. Can't believe it. This thing's absolutely mint still in its case. It's like, of all the guitars I've had, so this is the only one that the Degus thought was nice enough to take a bite out of. The other ones have been, I mean, I've guitars sitting in there for 6 months, and he runs all over them. Never seen him bite one. That wee bastard. I only put it down for 2 seconds as well. Yeah, so that's that gripe over. That's nothing to do with this guitar. Yeah, so we'll make some noise. Neck pickup. Got volume control on it. What's interesting about this guitar is the neck pickup, I think, sounds the same as the one in my SG, which I've had for probably nearly 20 years now. It's a 95 special, I think. Something like that. You can't really see. It's been, the back of the head's been repainted, so you can't really read the serial number. But the neck pickup on that was always one of my favourite sounds, and not really any of the other guitars I've got never really matched to make it exactly the same sound, whereas this one does have the same sound in neck pickup. I think the pickups in that one are 498s, and these are the 57 Classics. But the bridge pickup is more vintagey, sounds an awful lot more like Angus Young than the bridge pickup in the red one. Also got a funny nut on it. I think it might be called a zero nut, something like that, but it's kind of like, remember in the old days the idea was you could put a 0 fret in, which would mean that when you were hitting an open string, the string was vibrating off a fret rather than sitting off a plastic nut. Well, this has got like a, I'll hold it close enough so you can see it, but it's like it looks like it's two parts. The top bit is like just a string guide which holds the what position it goes that way, and the bottom bit's like a raisable brass bar which has two Allen bolts on it, so you can actually raise and lower the 0 fret, if you like. So I mean, these things, I don't think they make a huge difference, but every week, it makes it that much better. So if you keep adding all the wee bits that much better, you end up with a better guitar. So I like it. But this is obviously is it a flagship model? I mean, back in the day when I bought the first SG, the Gibson SG range was, you got the special and you get the standard. That was it. Whereas now there's 50 of them, all different sizes and colours. And back in the day you only got the special came in red, white and black, and everybody bought the black one. And the standard came in cherry and black. So that was kind of your, there was 5 SGs in total. Which is quite funny when you look at how rare it is to actually see a red one. Everyone just bought the black ones. But I was told back in then that the special was basically exactly the same guitar as the standard, came off the same production line, but the specials, the grain in the wood wasn't very nice, it wasn't good enough to take the transparent finish, so they just get dunked in poly, red plastic or black plastic, and then when they got the fretboard added, it didn't have binding, and the pickups didn't have covers on them, but apart from that, it's exactly the same guitar as the 95 standards, apart from it's coated in red plastic. But I think nowadays there's an awful lot more to it than that, because I've been bad-mouthing Gibsons for the last couple of years actually. I went in and tried an SG, when they started reducing the price of these and they were down to sort of $450 for an SG special, I thought, wow. I went and played it, it wasn't good. It wasn't, I mean, this is a standard, so it's good, but it was very unfinished feeling, and the whole matte thing was just crap. I think they save an awful lot of money by not putting on the nice shiny covering, but it's so much nicer having the nice shiny covering. So I've yet to find out what's wrong with these G-Force tuners, why everyone hates them so much. They seem to be a really good idea. I've not yet actually done very much with them. I've been playing it the last couple of weeks, and these strings are pretty bad. You know when you put new strings on and then you don't stretch them in, and then you try a year later or 6 months later, they just don't hold tune. Well, I've been using the automatic tuner. I've been quite liking the fact it's been going out of tune because it's meant to done things. So even now it's not even tuning it anymore. After the last sort of 2 weeks, I've now made these strings in tune. But I suppose on an SG, I mean, look at the high fret access is pretty much unparalleled. What does seem a bit silly to me, I remember this being pointed out before, is the neck's only 22 frets. Yeah. Only 22. But the neck, so it's a 22 fret neck. But there's a bit of plastic in there between, maybe cover, between the end of the fretboard and the pickup. Whereas I was always led to believe that the argument for keeping the 22 frets and not having 24 was you could put the neck pickup in the correct position, which was right and below where the 24th fret should be. Which on an SG, same with this one, I think all SGs are the same. The pickup isn't right up against the 22nd fret, so why not just put an extra 2 frets in? And then maybe, okay, you can already reach there, but you can clearly reach, you know, way over the pickup. So that, for me, that's a bit silly. It should just be a 24 fret. There's no, if you don't lose anything elsewhere, you know, I can see how if it was going to affect structure or, you know, you have to reshape the body, but you don't. It seems silly to me. I think what you can do with what I know what you can do with the G-Force tuners is you can put it into funny tunings like Open G and Dadgad. There's banks on the back. I think it's something like 10 pre-selected tunings and then 5 in a memory bank you can tune on your own if you can be bothered working out how to do that. I'll never use standard tuning. But I'm not sure that you can actually turn the knobs to do it yourself. I'm scared to in case I break it. It doesn't feel right. Coil splits. Single coil. Both single coils. To be honest, an SG with coil splits is not really what you want, although you did obviously get the P90 ones that Pete Townsend used to play, and I think it's the old special, which sound amazing, but I suppose no, I think that they're probably the thing I like about the way they're set up here is, you know, in the push-pull pots, if you didn't know they were there and you never actually tried pulling them out, then it doesn't make any difference. It's still a full-on SG. You're not losing anything at all, or having something you could accidentally have switched on. They're just there. I do want to comment on the quality of the push-pull pots. They are not any better than the ones I've put in guitars. And this is an 800, I don't know how much this, I think, really expensive guitar. And they're just a bit sort of shitty. They seem to work alright, but they're a bit sort of clunky, and they really are budget. I mean, they feel smooth enough going up and down. It's just the actual switching motion just isn't quite. Well, I've got an old Schecter PT, or before pre-PT, a telly from the 80s, and it's got things called omnipots, which I think Schecter were one of the first companies ever to put push-pull pots in, but they are like pure, they're like on a ball bearing or something. I think actually I've seen them for sale and they're like £150 each per switch, so they better be nice. But I mean, I'm sure you could get better ones than that, Gibson, if you were trying. And again, it's like if you're going for one of these, I'd imagine this is probably cheaper than a regular standard because of this logo, which everyone hates because it's not the same as the logo on the 1950, and nobody likes the robot tuners. But the most significant difference is the neck. The neck is wide. I measured it. It's 46mm width at the nut. A normal SG is 42mm. And that's, although it's only 4mm difference, that's a huge difference. I mean, I'm a bass player, and I'm sure if you're a bass player as well, you will know that a P bass neck and a jazz bass neck are very different, because the jazz bass one gets thinner when you get to the nut. The P bass one doesn't. Well, the difference there is 40mm for a jazz bass and 42mm for a P bass, so it's only 2mm difference. It's 4mm difference in between this and that, so it really feels weird. But in saying that, after having played it for a week or two, neck's good. I like it. I know this problem Gibson have with quality issues. Maybe, well, you keep seeing it advertised everywhere. I think that maybe more applies to the sort of, you know, the really budget ones, the tribute ones and stuff like that. I mean, this is immaculately built, really. I mean, I'm quite a stickler for it. Actually, now I look at it, just to be the light shine off it, I think it's because it's a nitro finish. It's a little bit lumpy in the pocket, but that's just a finish. Yeah, but I do have a slight quality issue with the tone. The push-pull pots, they're a bit tinky. Yes, I would totally buy this over the one from the 2014 or 2016 if this was cheaper, because it's got the thing nobody likes on it, and it's got the G-Force tuners. I really think they missed a trick with the G-Force tuners. They should be on an Epiphone at about 300 quid. You know, you should get your sort of standard, your cheapy Epiphone at 150, an entry one, then you sort of the 200, the 250 one, you know, the one that kind of looks like a Les Paul with a carved top. Then there should be one at £50 more with a G-Force on it, because that's going to be so much more use to somebody who's likely to be buying an Epiphone, rather than someone, if you're spending thousands of pounds on a guitar, you should be really good at the guitar, and I've played it for years, and you know, be willing to use it, so you're okay with tuning. Although I think there are a lot of people that can't actually play thousands of pounds worth of guitars. I mean, I really struggle. Actually, the guy that gave me this, I went into Guitar in town with him, and he had to leave the shop because he was so appalled at how expensive guitars are. Not saying Guitar are more expensive than any other guitar shop, but just new ones, you know, Les Pauls and Strats and stuff, and they're thousands of pounds. Right, actually, before I go, what I'll do is I'll do a wee bit of a compare. So this is, I reckon the bridge pickup in this is more Angus Youngy than the one on the red one. So it's a bit of a boring song. What song would be a bit more? Flawless switch over. This one disappears into my t-shirt in it as well. This pickup is more mush, not as clear as that one. It's more sort of drivey, fuzzy. Yeah, again, this guitar has been with me forever. I remember deciding that once I could play the majority of war picks, I would buy a real SG. So I did. So I've now got to rock on. Hope this video It's going a bit jerky. Oh.